All right, let's just get started. I think the audio actually recorded perfectly last time. I'm using a mic, but I didn't think it would like go through my what's it called? The camera here, but whatever. We'll just run with it. God, I knew this episode. Oh God, I hate talking like that. I really do like this episode because this is what I mean, all right? Like to create, you just need to create freely and not have intentions really behind it. Maybe there's a loose intention, but you can't have things too like planned. And with the way digital creation has become, like everything has to be not only like, oh, how can I end up monetizing this, but everything has to be in this tight little bundle. And like, I did art a long time and I studied art at school and university. And the biggest thing is that it's like, it has to be messy. You have to get in there. It has to be discovery. And eventually then you put it in this beautiful package and you present it as an art form, as a piece. You know what I mean? And that piece can be anything. It doesn't have to be like a painting. It can be like an interactive piece, whatever. But the way we look at art now and creating is just so like compacted and compartmentalized, and it pisses me off. So I wrote a bunch of things down that I actually wanted to speak on today, but I need to speak about something else. And the quote that I'll lead with is a Julia Mafia special quote. So if you use this, you need to fucking make sure you credit me. It's about my coffee detox and, more to the point, quitting caffeine. Now, am I going to quit coffee? Probably not. I love coffee. I love the taste. I enjoy a good decaf. It's all good. And I'm like sad to say this. Like, I'm really sad because I fucking love coffee, but I just don't think it's helping me at this point in my life right now. And that leads me to the Julia Mafia special quote. Something that was once medicine can now become poison. So you can apply that something to literally anything, a substance, a person, like whatever. Through my healing journey, I've really had to look at my nervous system, and I will mention it, but I don't really like to talk about it because it was really tough. I actually had a medical heart strain before I made the decision to move, which ended me up in emergency in hospital. I had to be rushed to hospital. I thought I was going to have a heart attack. It was pretty insane. And thank God I'd been doing meditation and yoga and stuff. So I learned about like controlling the mechanics of the body with the mind, but it was pretty scary. After that, I really not only had to pay attention to like what was happening, obviously spiritually, within me or subconsciously as well, physically. Like I had real physical considerations after that. And that led me into really looking at, the heart, the nervous system, and being more aware of like, my breathing and things like that. And actually, not that I was to that point, not that I was breathing shallow or I didn't have any of these crazy, like, these basic things that are kind of common knowledge now, like, try and breathe through your nose and like breathe into your stomach and like, blah, 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 or diaphragmatic breathing, try and do that, whatever. I had that knowledge, but it was more just like, I was overstimulating myself in so many areas of my life. You know what I mean? Not just with my activity. You want to come inside? Tato's outside. Hey? All good, Bello? You want to come in? Anyway. Yeah, like I was overstimulating myself in so many areas of my life because I was so accustomed to chaos. I want to pause here because I need to Spanish this. I'll chop that out. I just had a Spanish thought come to my brain. Fuck, what was I on about? The chaos. See, now that I'm like a lot more level headed, I can recollect my thoughts. So I've had an understanding that caffeine is not the best thing for me personally because of the heart strain, and I also have a stress disorder. I've got diagnosed CPTSD, and after I got assaulted, definitely a bit of PTSD from that. And it's kind of common to have both or whatever. It's just kind of how your brain like compartmentalizes shit. Anyway, something that's actually really empowered me about that is been hearing a lot of people on TikTok saying it's not a mental illness, it's a brain injury. I'm like, great, because that means you can heal from it, because you can heal from injuries. I'm a master at that. Injured at the moment. Have somehow tweaked my psoas. If you're curious, Google it. Yeah. So anyway, but I actually, not that I like getting injured, it's not fun, but every time I get injured, I know that I'm being called to change. So I embrace it. I'm like, all right, cool. I got to rest. I got to like do something else. Anyway, so yeah, I've known that like caffeine has a role in that, but I wanted to address my lifestyle and everything else first. Subsidiary to that is the fact that I honestly have seen coffee as medicine, and it's really helped with the depression and the loneliness and the isolation of having to move and ripping up all these layers of myself. Like it's really some days just got me up and about. I had to spend a lot of days, in bed or at home doing nothing and being a vegetable to like face myself. But some days it was like I needed to elevate, and coffee really helped me with that. And I'm so grateful for it. And it's really bittersweet because like I still enjoy it so much. And it honestly, it still does give me that a little bit. Like at the end of the day, it's a drug, right? Like even if you're used to it, it's still going to provide you that kick. And, it's so weird that this is like such a big thing in my mind because I've done so many coffee detoxes and times off. And I've, like had heaps of time where I've taken months off it or weeks at a time and like whatever. But I think the thing is now that I'm understanding like I need to not go back to it. And that's what's making me like a bit sad because I enjoy it and it's done so much for me in my life. But the sweetness of it is that like I'm ready to let it go. I'm ready to put it down and I'm ready to step into a different phase of myself where I'm more present, I'm slower, I'm not moving with so much push and grind energy, and I'm moving with the flow of my life, and I'm actually letting my art lead and my connection to source energy or God, Allah, that. So it's a really beautiful stage. But like the butterfly going through the metamorphosis, right? It turns to mush first in the cocoon. And, before that, it's a worm. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I also wanted to reinforce this in a spoken episode because I wanted to remind myself as well of like why I'm doing this. And reality is I've done way harder things in my life, like to just switch to a decaf if I really need a coffee is not a big deal. It's not. But again, like a lot of things we can make a lot bigger in our heads. And that sort of stops us and makes us panic and makes us anxious. Like, yeah, the mind really does create a lot of things, and sometimes it really is mind over matter. You know what I mean? Because the matter really is right now is that I'm calm, I'm feeling good, my energy feels stable, but a little piece of my mind could tell me, "Oh no, have a coffee. You'll do this podcast better. You'll speak better. Have a coffee." Nah, I'm good, brother. So yeah, I think we go from this day forward, and I think these podcasts will be integral to reinforcing that for me. So I have like a tiny bit of caffeinated left in a little jar, and I was gonna like try and finish it. Oh, I'm wiping my eye. I got freaking makeup in my inner corner. Whoops. I was gonna like finish it all before the end of the month. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I could just throw it out. I don't have to finish it. So I don't know. We'll see what happens when I get off the the chat today. I also have a really cute coffee machine. I bought a really cute coffee machine. I don't know. I still like looking at it, but I might sell it. Just to like whatever. But then again, I really do like. I found a really good decaf at one of my local supermarkets. So I don't know. I could probably just enjoy it like that. But yeah. Well, I think that's done. I don't need to talk about that anymore. Let's move on to the shit I wrote. I do have a tea today. I don't know what it is. Some flour. I don't think that's the type of tea. Anyway, I bought it because the girl looks chill on the packet. I should not put this over my computer, but she looks like kickback ads. And so I was like, yeah, I want to be like that. You know what too? When you're like making content, right? You feel like you gotta fill every space. You know what I mean? And I've even found that with sort of dropping down a few years and being more present, is that like there's less I have less of a need to try and like fill space and to entertain. I've always had this like, because of sort of the way I grew up, in a very tense, loud, aggressive, angry household, right? I was so used to always trying to like laugh and smooth shit over and like lessen the aggression. You know what I mean? I eventually became part of the aggression, but we won't go into that. But I think because of that, I always was trying to reduce tension everywhere. You know what I mean? But in a weird way, I was always also creating the tension. It's so fucking weird how it works, isn't it? Like, I don't know. I act polarity. This is what I want to talk about. This is what I want to talk about. All right, let's start with the quote. That might help me talk. Let's start with a quote I thought of this morning. Another Julia MAFIA special. Sometimes you don't have to fix it. You just have to feel it. Let that land for a minute. Sometimes you don't have to fix it. You just have to feel it. Okay, let's go down the rabbit hole. Let's go down the rabbit hole, mate. I'm opening the trap door and I'm entering the coochie tunnels in Vietnam, mate. I'm walking down that 2-kilometer freaking... I got this... I hate underground shit. I've always hated underground tunnels and shit. Fucking hate it. And when I was in high school, we went to Vietnam on a school trip. And they took us to the coochie tunnels. And for those that don't know, they were used during the Vietnam War for the Vietnamese soldiers to like stay safe. And because they're little people, they built these tiny tunnels. And it was all these underground rooms and shit. Mate, they even like for tourists, they've now like widened these tunnels. But like there was this one that we could walk down and it was like 1 kilometer or so long, or maybe it was shorter than that, but it looked long to me. And I wanted to do it because I wanted to get over my fear. And I remember just getting in there and looking at it. I'm like, fuck that. No. Should probably try and address that fear. I just feel like I can't breathe underground. Like the air quality is obviously different because you're in dirt. But I don't know. Doesn't feel good. Anyway, that sort of feeling of being trapped, I've been feeling that like past couple of days. I've been, especially this morning, like I've just been wanting to jump out of my fucking skin. You know when you feel like that, you're just like, fucking. You know what I mean? I'll usually do a bit of shadow boxing when that happens. I won't lie. I'll just stand in my kitchen and like, oh, it's not as good when you don't hit a target, though, I'll be honest. Anyway, so yeah, I've been feeling like this yuck, like I just want to fucking rip out of my body and like just, and I feel this way often, which is why I've used exercise as a coping mechanism. Now, when you're somebody who uses health and fitness, quote unquote, but when you're someone who uses exercise as a coping mechanism, no one realizes because, oh, you're just really fit and healthy. Yeah, I am, I guess. But a lot of the time I will train or go for a run. That's been my latest and greatest. And I'll do that when I really need to like face something within myself or I actually need to do some work. And I'm like, well, let me work the other way. Now then it's like, all right, well, if you enjoy working that way, why don't you make that like, something, your job? I tried that and I did that, right? I was bodybuilding and I was coaching and I enjoyed the pursuit. And then my spirit was like, hey, what about me? But it was Shannon. What about me? It isn't fair. And the art, it just kept calling me and pulling me. You know what I mean? Particularly my main art form of DJing. It just kept gnawing at me. And by what I mean gnawing at me is that I went to basically the electronic music country capital of the world. Thought, fuck it, I'm getting out of here. I was on my way leaving and I literally accidentally landed a full-time job doing it. Right? That's not something you can explain. Right? It's just there and it's a calling. Right? It's a calling. And I knew it when I first started doing it. I felt different doing it. I had like very clear messages in my head and also a feeling that I had never felt before. This oneness, this feeling of oneness and like a sense of peace that's greater than just like silence peace. It was like this soul completion, if that makes any sense. And because I didn't have the understanding of like what that was really or the ability to trust in it, faith, I didn't really have much faith at that point in time. I didn't really understand. I didn't really have anyone to talk about. I didn't really have anyone to speak about it to. And I actually did try. I spoke to a fellow artist friend at the time about it. And they sort of shat on my dreams about it. Really, I won't lie. So it became this internal struggle and this internal conflict from kind of the start. And, people could see it in me, like, I'm hungry, sorry, that was my stomach. People could see it in me. I remember when I worked in construction, right? So with my design degree, what I did was I ended up in construction management. You know what I mean? So I just like, I fucking, what did I do? I like ripped all I had a beautiful garden when I finished high school. A beautiful garden. And then what I did was I went and cut all the fucking flowers off the top of the stems into my adulthood. Of sake of money, of sake of supposed stability, of sake of seeming like I had everything all together and I had my life sorted and I was like a high achiever and I was like a weapon and this and that. Right? So what I wanted to do initially when I finished high school was start making art and open up an art studio. I was obsessed with resin art at the time and it was going off on Instagram and I wanted to start a business. And then I had a space to do it. Unfortunately, something happened within the family and I didn't feel comfortable using that space anymore and I wasn't able to use that space anymore, more to the point. And that sort of shattered my dreams a little bit. I then rented an art studio. I've literally found an art studio and I went and rented it. I didn't even go once. Why? Because I started working full time at the same time in a job that was 10 hours a day, 6 days a week. I did not have any time or energy to go. but I wanted to use my degree and I got this really good career job and I was making sick money for someone that was like 20 years old. You know what I mean? So I allowed myself, like so many of us, and probably most of us in the modern world, I allowed myself to be swindled by the system, by that matrix of like, follow the money, follow the money. And that's what I did. That's what I did. I followed the money, right? When I would work in construction, I was in the office, right? And I would just sit there with my earphones on and blast and do work all day. And the boys that I worked with, they knew I DJ'd. And they could obviously see I loved it. I had my head in music all day. And I wouldn't talk to anyone. I just had my head in music. And so many of them said to me, like, why don't you just do that? Like, why are you here? It's so funny sometimes that people can see, like, where you should be or who you are before you do. The mirror lies to us sometimes, guys. And where our own eyes lie to us, more to the point. And I was just like, I can't do that. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean? They're like, nah, that's not realistic. That's not, nah, what? And they were just thinking like, here is a young girl sitting here in a fucking bunker who has this passion and this love and her whole life ahead of her. Like, what the fuck is she doing? But I was just like, I'm actually making the smart move. You know what I mean? And I know I'm not alone in that. Look around. You listening probably are doing / have done that. And for whatever reason, by whatever grace of God, this video has appeared to you, So, yeah, I still didn't trust it. I didn't trust it. Creation and art has always been my greatest passion. I adore fitness. I adore it, and it's done so much for me in my life. But it's also been a coping mechanism, right? Now, the whole point is that, like, you don't want to be coping. You want to be, like, thriving and living your life and enjoying your life. You don't want to be coping all the time. So for me personally, I've known for quite a while, and it's been a process, which is why, like, I was bodybuilding, then I stopped, and now I'm really like, well, I'm throwing out my runners today. Not that, like, I'm just throwing them out because I'm done, but they're a bit fucked, and also I'm injured. Like, I can hardly walk at the moment, to tell the truth. So the last thing I need to do is run right now. If I'm going to do any exercise, it's rehab, not running. So it's been a process for me to, like, let go of this fitness obsession, right? Which, again, I don't want to call it an obsession. I want to call it a coping mechanism, because I'm not really obsessed with fitness. I love it because of what it can do, but I'm not obsessed with it. And that's why I'm not pursuing it as a career only, right? What I am obsessed with is health, absolutely, on every level, but particularly mental health, right? And I've always been a super philosophical, deep person. Why? Because I'm an artist and I'm obsessed with music. I can do that shit all day, every day. I adore DJing more than anything in the world. Like, when I'm up there, and not even when I'm up, just when I've got like a fucking mixer in front of me and my headphones on, like, it's just like I'm teleported into a different place, and it's the most beautiful shit ever. And I want to do that as much as possible. So I'm leading with that now. You know what I mean? And obviously there's a lot of things that come underneath that, and those are the things that, like, have been stressing me the fuck out and keeping me stuck, because I start thinking about all that other shit, And this is where like the sensationalism of being a DJ and like the pressures of, I'm gonna put pressures in fucking inverted commas because it is bullshit, really. The pressures online, like I open my Instagram and there's like someone else doing this, someone else doing that, someone else doing that. Let me get this verse up. I read a verse this morning in my short Quran. Actually, I opened it to a random page yesterday and today, and the same verse came up. So this is the whole crux at the moment, right? This is called Surah At-Takathur. I'm gonna do my best to read it, all right? I'll do the Arabic and then I'll do the English. You gotta start it off. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Al-Hakumu At-Takathur. Competition in worldly increase diverts you. So in simple English, worldly competition strays you from your path. حتى زرتم المقابر, until you visit the graveyards. Right? So basically, until your health is fucked or you're in the face of death, nothing else matters. Right? We all have problems until we have one problem. You know what I mean? Everything matters until your health's fucked. Which is why injury is great, because it's a little prick. It's a little reminder. Hey, just reminding you. Just reminding you what's important. And then it basically just says, yep, then you'll know. And, you know, basically before you die, you'll be encouraged to think about the good things in life and your pleasures. So what I also obtain from that is like life is supposed to be enjoyed. Okay? I'm not saying indulge in all of your earthly desires straight away, and we can go into that, right? We can go into that. Let's go into that. I wrote a little rap song on my BlackBerry. Fuck. I love that video so much. I'm putting that in the, if you've not seen it, I'm putting it in the fucking description. It's literally me with my raps. Anyway, we'll touch on the rap later, but what I did want to talk about was Earth. Nah, we'll talk on the rap now. I'm there, and then we'll go back to the fucking So I'm on the rap. What am I going to? See, this is how scattered my brain is without the coffee. It'll like fix itself in a minute, but like right now it's like disorganized. I wrote a little rap song. No, I've got to go back. I think I've got to pause this and go back. Fuck. What the fuck was I saying? All right, yeah. So what I was saying was indulging into earthly desires. Like living a life of pleasure doesn't just mean you like do that. I wrote a piece on addiction. It took everything just then not to say I wrote a little rap song on my BlackBerry. Fuck. So this is the shit that I mean. Like, you gotta have fun. Like me just saying that shit right now and having a laugh and taking like 5 minutes doesn't affect anything. But if I'm here trying to be perfect and like, I gotta fucking talk because I'm fucking talking to a microphone, I gotta be professional, like, I'm blocking that and I'm actually limiting my amount of fucking enjoyment. Right? And I'm suppressing this small example, but this is how it compiles. I'm suppressing myself in my expression, and that doesn't go anywhere. It stays within me to the point where I get to somewhere, and I'm holding on to so much of just trying to express myself, whether it's joy, anger, whatever. I'm holding on to so much of that emotion that I have a temptation come in or something that come in that's not good for me and not a healthy halal way to express yourself. And I can't help it. You know? Drugs, sex, whatever the fuck else that we use. You know? I wrote a piece on addiction. And basically what I wrote was interesting because what I have seen in my two worlds, which are like the health and fitness world and the DJ music world, is that the irony of it is everyone thinks they're so different. And I myself have been like, oh, they're so different. They're fucking not. Why are they not? Why do you train? Why do you focus on your health? To feel good. Why do you go out? Why do you listen to music? To feel good. To work through shit. You know what I mean? It's all working through shit. You know what I mean? It's all like trying to express. Right? Now, I mentioned I have previously used exercise as a coping mechanism. Right? I'm no different from the person that goes on a bender every weekend. In reality, on the outside, I'm going to get praised for my coping mechanism. Actually. And depending on the community this bloke's in, he's going to get praised too for being on a bend all the time. But at the root, we're actually dealing with the same problem. And that is we're running away from something within ourselves. We're not expressing in a way we need to. We're not facing something. And we're holding on to a lower version of ourselves out of fear. Right? So, what you will see as well in if you actually notice what is going on around you, with most people don't, but let's not go down there, right? What you'll see online, let's just keep it to that, is the person that used to be like the mad fucking cunt on the bender all the time turn into like the fitness freak. Has he healed? Nah. He's just converted. You know, he's just fucking converted from a flack to a fucking wav. It's still a song. Basically, what I'm trying to say is he's just converted his addiction into something else. Okay, it's a step in the right direction because at least he's being conscious of his health now a bit more and probably understanding what he was doing prior wasn't as good. So it's like a step up, but it still isn't like tackling the root cause, the root issues. And that's the process of somebody's own individual personal journey. And that's something they need to be ready to do and unlock within themselves, which is what I aim to assist with in my work as a health coach. My goal is to point people back to themselves, to give them grounding practices of those things that I do know about health and fitness, the things that I'm also qualified to teach. I'm a qualified personal trainer, right? And I've got nutrition advisory qualifications. So what I try and do is amalgamate it all together. It's like, depending on where you're at in your life, also depending on like how you're receptive to stuff too, because like this is what I find too. I've had clients that like just need to do it and they don't like respond to anything I say. But I've had clients that actually like really like feed off everything I say, and that actually changes them more than like doing the physical work. I give them everything that I feel they need and require on the three-dimensional plane, so in this physical reality in terms of like their body. I try and give them mindset practices and things they can do that'll help them. And I also speak to their spirit. And I encourage them to do things that might reconnect them with their spirit. And it's really interesting to see where everybody meets you. And it's also super interesting to see how through the process of the coaching, the way people are receptive changes. You know what I mean? So for example, like when I first started coaching, I would obviously get a lot of people that would come to me for those physical things. They would come to me because they were wanting to lose weight, build muscle, standard. You know, everyone wants to run and walk at the same time. But like, yeah, it's like I want to lose weight and I want to tone up, you know. And so I'll go, all right, cool. I'll pick their brain a little bit. Usually they don't want to hear it. Fine, cool. Here's your program. Then as we're training together, whether it was in person or online, you know, they are obviously, I don't want to use the word failing, but they're obviously, you know, let's take a very basic thing, for example, a basic example. All right, an RDL, Romanian deadlift, that movement pattern, hinge movement pattern. One of the most basic / foundational movements of the human body, especially when it comes to strength training and just general daily life, you know, to pick something up. Now I'm like fucking trying to fix my posture, you know what I mean? Because I'm leaning over this mic. I should put it up here. Fucking oath. Hang on, that cord's not long enough. Hey, I got a fucking mic. It's too heavy, fucking. What's it so heavy for? I need like a stander. Let me put it on something. Oh, there we go. Is that better? Fucking oath it is. I don't have to fucking hunch now. I should put my laptop on a box too. You know what? I'm going to do that. Technologia! Technologia! Fucking laptop stand. Don't worry, put my fucking laptop on a box, mate. All good. I love being resourceful. It like itches the wog part of me that doesn't want to pay for shit. Fuck. I did have a laptop stand, and a DJ table and everything, but I thought I was going to fucking leave Spain, so I threw everything out. Anyway. Yeah, so RDLs, right? RDLs like the classic movement that like everyone struggles with at the start, but it's like such a basic movement. So if someone's not responding to like what I'm saying, right, they might need that real physical reminder of like, oh, I can't do this. I'm shit at this, right? Because then they're more open to what I'm saying after they realize they can't do it. It's really funny what the mind does to like sustain where we're at. It's really strange. You know what I mean? We like it's like we reinforce our own bias. And I think it's just the way the human brain is designed. Honestly, I feel like I'm yelling now. But I feel like it's just the way the human brain's designed. I feel like we're creatures of like survival and fucking sustaining. And, if you think back to caveman days, we had to outsmart all these other animals that are bigger, stronger. We were kind of the persistent animal. You know what I mean? Like chased down and wear out. And like that's in our nature now. And that forms like our brain, our primal part of our brain. So we do that with our day-to-day life now with things that we don't actually need to do. So yeah, if someone's not sort of registering what I'm saying and like I can't really reach them on the mental, they will eventually get there themselves via the physical and via realizing that they can't do a movement or they're shit at a movement, or they're limited. And I see this a lot in life, and not just with myself, but in the world around me, where like oftentimes people will not make a change until something blows up. And back to what I was saying before, this is why I actually am grateful. Alhamdulillah, I'm grateful every time I get an injury, because I know that that's God stopping me in my tracks and saying, you're pushing too hard. You need to move different. You need to look at this. The way that my injuries happen, I'm not playing contact sport and I'm not a professional athlete. So like every time I get injured, I know it's like a sign, right? And sometimes we really need that visceral physical reminder. But again, the whole point of like what I'm doing and what I teach is not waiting to get to that point, because you don't know how bad that point's going to be. And back to my heart strain, that was the most alarming thing that has happened in my entire life to me. And it fully changed in an instant. It fully changed my priorities. It fully changed the life I was prepared to live, and it fully changed my ethos. It ripped up my core, and it literally flipped all of my my values and my morals on its head, truly. And now in studying Islam, I'm finding that that is really aligning most with the flipping of my morals and the sort of structure and the community I've been looking for around that, because I didn't feel I had that back where I was living in Melbourne and back in the connections around me. So last topic to finish up, I want to touch a little bit on as well the use of phone and technology and AI. Let's talk about that and how that, well, the robots are taking over, I could say simply. But when we say the robots are taking over, we're thinking, oh my God, the robots are like attacking us as humans. No, 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 no. We're idolizing the robots and we're destroying ourselves via the robot. Technology does what you want it to do. Technology assists you, right? So if you put it on this pedestal, it's going to control you. And this is why connecting with some sort of faith and some sort of real source energy, God, whatever you want to call it, okay? The universe, whatever. That's so key. Not only for you as a human, but like for all of us as a shared consciousness human, right? We're in an era where people think they don't need God. Now, you don't have to believe in a religion or, whatever. You don't. But I think it's the most ignorant shit ever to be like, oh, there is no God. Well, how the fuck did you get here? Did you birth yourself, did ya? Did you create your soul? How did you get here? You can't explain that. There's something esoteric, omnipresent that, and how do you explain all the crazy shit that happens without understanding that there's got to be some force that acts, right? I just think it's ignorant. I really just think it's ignorant to dismiss the presence of something. You don't have to understand it yet or whatever, but to be a fully grown adult and to dismiss the existence of some sort of a higher power is lunacy to me. It's lunacy to me. Straight out. And the irony of it is that we're encouraging this lunacy with more push, more money, more technology, more fast, more fucking peptides, fucking this drug, fucking that drug, da. We're just going so fucking hard with it. And there's a lot of other creators online that are really into art, whatever art it is. And there's one girl, she's always talking about life is art. And she's always fucking angry about it. She's just like, fuck, man, you need to connect with art. You need to let the art lead. And I was like, fuck, she drains it. But you know what? She's right. She's fucking right. Now I'm sitting here saying the same shit. When you think first with money and or physical things and put a price tag and that intention on everything, you're robbing yourself of experiencing life and actually feeling joy and love. Because money can buy happiness. Money can buy things. Money can buy quick fixes. Money can buy greater pleasures. Money can buy experiences even. Right? So it can make us happy. can. And it also helps us, for sure. But if you don't know what it means to access love inside first, you're just going to be on that Ferris wheel. Right? And why I say Ferris wheels? Because it's slow. It's fucking slow. It's fucking slow. And you keep going around it. And then you just be like, fuck man, this is so boring. And I've wasted so much time on this Ferris wheel. It's not a hamster wheel, it's a Ferris wheel. It's fucking worse. And you know what too? When you realize you're sick of the fucking Ferris wheel, you'll probably be up the top. And you got to wait how long to come back down? Do you know what I'm saying? You know, if actually the best option at that point to save yourself time, which is the only thing money can't buy, the best option would be for the fucking Ferris wheel to malfunction, it to burn, and somehow you're fucking safe in the carriage and it comes down to the bottom. You know, sometimes it's actually the better option to let it all burn and turn to fucking shit. You know, and go through the mess because you actually be out the other side quicker. Right? So, no, money is not the root of all evil. Technology and AI is not coming to fucking kill us. It's what we're creating and what we're doing with our own consciousness and with our own brains to ourselves. You know, and more is not the answer. Less is more. 9 times out of 10, less is more. I want to talk quickly about art. So what is art? You know, like, people, I'm not creative. A lot of people say to me, I'm not creative. I wish I can't paint. I can't. You don't need to be able to do anything. You don't. Do you know what I mean? Like, can you hold a pen? See what the fuck comes out. You can hold a paintbrush, I'm sure. See what comes out. Doesn't have to be in that way as well. You know, you can start easy. You can like think of an idea and like, if you need to, put it into AI and see what it creates. That's still being creative because you're putting like your own unique ideas together. Maybe it's creating it for you, but that's a good start. If that's where you're going to start, you know, that's why I still write and do the rap. You know, I realized a few things about it, which is why I didn't decide to pursue it like alongside DJing. You know, just sort of realized how powerful it was and that I was creating a lot of misery via it because rap is quite aggressive, you know what I mean? But another thing is that it's a fun way for me to express with no pressure and to like play with words. It's like my little, it's like my little studio. It's like a little fucking, it's like for me, a little draft, you know, it's like something I can do just to like get the cobwebs out and it's fun. And I don't have to do that with any intention and it's beautiful. I love my little rap spot. You know what I mean? I rap and write still almost every day and I don't share much of it online anymore. You know, it is the stuff that does well on my Instagram, but I'm not pursuing that for work. You know what I mean? So, okay, maybe I can share it here and there because it is a part of my process in a way as a human, but it's also this personal thing that I love that like just keeps me grounded. It keeps me connected to God. You know what I mean? So, like, I don't feel the need to share that and try and exploit that. Right? Now, why do you do the same with DJing then? I can hear it. Well, why are you fucking it? Why I am monetizing my DJing is because of the following. I have evolved significantly enough to get to that point and to take it to that level and stay authentic to it. And it's also so developed. The skills that I've got with it and everything else is so refined now. It's ready for that. It's ready for that exposure. It's ready to make bank. Right? I have been DJing professionally, meaning getting paid for it, since 2019. It is now 2026. That's 7 years. Now, period of time in there where I wasn't doing it out because of lockdown, so 2020, 2021, but I was still DJing often at home. I DJ'd alone in my bedroom for like years until I moved to Spain. Really. Like ages. Out of the love, out of no intention of turning it into anything. Had a knowing it was there for me and it was a calling, but no intention of turning it into anything. Right? I'm not asking you to fucking give me a round of applause or clap me on the back for that. I'm just trying to explain to you the process, right? Art evolves. And when it evolves to the point of being able to actually do something with it and maybe capitalize off it, you've already gone through all that process. The issue that a lot of artists and real DJs, and I'm going to say real DJs because there's a fucking difference. I'm going to say it. I don't give a fuck. I'm picking a side of the fence. I'm picking a side of the fucking fence. You know why? Because all these fucking fakers and all these posers fuck us around, right? When we've dedicated years to the love of it, to the art of it, yet we're getting fucking pipped at the post because someone's buying followers, because someone's fucking doing other things, you know, and jumping the gate. It's bullshit. It's fucking bullshit, you know? It's like the sports where the fucking transgender athletes competing with the real women. Always going to have an edge up. That's why you've got to not compare yourself, like the Quran said, not compare yourself to the competition. Trust him, trust yourself, trust the art, right? And those spaces that are right for you and your art will land at some point and you'll find them and they'll find you. What you are seeking is also seeking you, right? So I've diverted a little bit here, but I want to talk about it. The frustration of the frustration of DJing now. The frustration of DJing. It's real. But this is why I'm disconnecting as much as possible. I'm sick to fucking death, personally, of seeing DJ content. I don't want to be just another cunt to look at. Now, I'm sure I'm going to have content like that. I'm not sitting here saying it's never going to exist. But I want you to know who the fuck I am. I want you to know how much I have dedicated my life and time to this art form. I want you to know why I do it. Right? And I want you to know it's not my whole life and it's not all of me. Yeah? And I want you to know that when you're at a fucking set of mind, you're not there just to pay a ticket. I'm going to need some of that. I'm not going to lie. Right? I'm going to need some of your cash. No, pay cash. I'm going to need some money. Okay? Why? A lot of work. A lot of fucking work. Okay? I won't hopefully not asking for much, depending on the festival, depending on whatever, you know? Gonna need some money to enter. Gonna need some money for you to come in and not be a fuckwit, right? Gonna need a bit of investment. However, I want you to know that when you're entering, hopefully if I can do my own shows and my own parties, you know, I have more control over it. But irrespective, I want you to know when you're seeing me perform, right, what I'm creating in front of you is for you to be in it with me, for you to experience it, for you to enjoy it, for you to feel whatever the fuck you need to feel, process whatever you need to process, and for all of it to come up in and out. You're there to feel. You're not there to fucking take a video of me and put it on your story. Should you want to do that, go for your fucking life. Right? You're also not there to talk to me directly as a person, as Julia Mafia. You're there to listen to Julia Mafia. You're there to hear. Right? What is she creating? What is this? Where am I with her? When I got my headphones on, I'm in the music, you need to be listening through the speakers. That's the point. You need to be there with me like that. One of my biggest nightmares, I'm not even kidding, is having a show where every cunt in the crowd is pointing their phone and not like dancing. To me, that is one of like that is a failure of a great degree, and that is like traumatic. Like I do not want that to happen at my shows. Like whatsoever. I get it's going to happen. I know it's going to happen, but I don't want that to happen. That's why I want you to know who the fuck I am and what I fucking believe. You know, I want you to know who I am. This is why I'm on here saying my shit. This is why I'm talking on my fucking Instagram, right? And it's not about, oh, I'm more than a DJ. Whatever. I just think I'm a DJ. I don't give a fuck. It's in my thing. But like, the music is deeper than that. The music is deeper than that. For me, anyway. Whatever these other cunts are doing, I don't fucking know. I don't fucking care. For me, it's deep. Right? For me, it's deep. Music is so healing. Music is so transformative. Music is like an incredible art form, and it speaks to every cunt of around the world. Doesn't matter what fucking language you speak. Doesn't matter where you're from. It hits. So let it hit. You know what I mean? Let it fucking hit. You know, and that's the thing, right? Should you, I'm not a closed book. Like I get frustrated a lot of the times just because I don't feel as though I really do connect like mentally with a lot of people, which is why a lot of the time I just kind of want to be alone. I don't want to speak. But I love a good chat, and I love people that like want to go deeper and like push deeper, which is why the MAFIA method exists, and I'm keeping that there. Because should you really want to get, like, if you're actually ready to do that, you're ready to like get in and rip up the fucking layers, I think it's an honor to be a part of that process for someone and to help someone do that. Like, you're saying enough is enough. I want to fucking change. I want to fucking fix this, or I just want to like feel better and feel good. And you're like, let's do it. I fucking rate that. And that's why I have the coaching services available. So should you want to like be in my field, you can. You can. Right? But again, you have to be ready to do that. So the way I see it is like the music's kind of like the performance side of me, and the music is like the preview. Really, it's the preview. And should you really feel connected and like whatever happens there with the energy and to you, and if it like does something for you, that's where I then want you to find the rest of my resources and go deeper. Because like I said, I've seen and experienced myself the same shit in the health and fitness world and the music world. It's like so much more similar than people realize. The things that people have on their conscience and the things that people are working through in those two areas, it's so much more similar than people fucking realize. So anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. This is a long one today, but I'm really benefiting from these talks to help me create like this whole thing, because yeah, it's been it's been such a cookery in my mind to be like, how does this all fit together? But reality is it does fit, because like training is elevating, music is elevating, and training is purging, music is purging. Like they actually make a lot of sense, and they work together very well synergistically, but also in isolation. Like they are their own art forms, you know. But yeah, I do sort of have to focus a lot more on like the art side and the music side now, and the sit down work. So, like I said, I'm also injured, so it's kind of like a good timing. But yeah, they really do complement one another, and wherever and however you find me through whichever world, just understand that it's actually the same. Like it's actually the same thing. Even if it's speaking to you through a different way, you know, maybe my words are speaking to you, maybe the training side is speaking to you, maybe the music is speaking to you, maybe the art, I don't know, but it's kind of all the same shit. And, you know, it all forms this beautiful little umbrella of Julia Mafia. So I hope you enjoyed this chat. Talk soon. Mafia out.